Good morning everyone and welcome back to another video. So as you saw in a previous video, I recently got the Hasselblad 28P and 90V. Did kind of a hands-on first impressions with the 28P the other day. I'll leave a link to that video in one of the cards up here. So today we're going to be focusing all on the 90V and I'm really excited to use this lens. This is, in my opinion, I think one of Hasselblad's more premier lenses. Not that the others are any kind of a slouch. This is a very premium feeling lens. This is not only one of their wider apertures at f2.5, but to be honest, it's also quite expensive. So I'm really looking forward to using it and seeing what it can do. Something that I mentioned in a previous video also was one of the reasons why I wanted to get this lens was I really fell in love with the 80mm f2.8 lens that comes on the Hasselblad 500 series. It's kind of the standard lens on most of their old film cameras. And there was something about both the focal length and also the depth of field that you can get from those lenses that I really loved. So I was really excited to see that very closely mimicked in this lens here. So obviously with it being a 90mm, you might think that it's a little bit closer in, but remember that that 90mm measurement is actually done on a full frame camera, not a medium format camera. So there's going to be a bit of a crop factor to this. So on the X2D, this winds up being closer to about 77mm. So very, very comparable. I think the goal for the day is going to be doing some street photography and also some architecture photography. We're in Uptown Charlotte today and there's some really beautiful buildings around. I think with a 90mm lens, we can try to zoom in and kind of capture some really interesting architectural details of some places. So I want to see what we can get with that, and then also doing some street photography, wandering around and seeing what we can find. Also, as a quick note, thank you so much for the support on the videos lately. Again, this is a brand new channel. This is like the 5th or 6th video that I'm going to be putting out on here. So I really appreciate the likes, the subscriptions, and then also just the views in general. So if you aren't subscribed and you're new here, I'm new here, please consider subscribing to help support my channel. Anyway, I think I'm going to pack up soon and then start wandering around and seeing what we can find to shoot today. Alright, so right now we're wandering around 4th Ward in Uptown Charlotte, and this is such a cool area. It's kind of away from like the main city, if you will, even though it is in Uptown. But there's these like really beautiful older buildings. Some of the architecture here I think is just wonderful, some of the design and stuff. Wanted to kind of come and wander around here for a little bit and see what we could find. And this is one of the little hidden gems that's here in this city that I really wanted to come over to. So I definitely want to try to get a shot of this and figure out maybe some other things with some of the buildings around here and stuff too, but wanted to come and show you all this because this is something that I think is such a cool little thing. I mean, like, I don't know, finding this in like American cities I think is really challenging. I feel like you find little hidden gems like this a lot more frequently in like Europe or something, but in America this isn't very common. So when my friend first showed me this for the first time, I just was like, oh my god, this is so neat. So hopefully you find this even half as interesting as I do. Let's get out our camera for the day. Okay, I have to admit, for this shot, I think getting the fountain and then the building, the 28P would have been a better lens. That's okay. I still want to try to get a shot with this with the 90V. Definitely a little bit too tightly cropped for what I have in mind, but I think we can try to make this work. Nope, I don't think so.
So the fountain wasn't working out. But I actually really liked this shot. Something that I think a 90mm lens really excels at is obviously the compression in the shot. So you'll see a lot of shots like this later on today where there's a lot of layering and use of multiple elements within the frame.
Nice. Thank God for IBIS. Oh no, a Cybertruck. All right, y'all have to let me know in the comments down below. What do you think of the Cybertruck? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Let me know. I've got my opinions. Maybe we'll talk about those in another video when I talk about cars or something, but oh man. All right, let's see. I want to see if we can try to get the Death Star back there with some of the buildings still lit up. So let's do manual focus, or not manual focus, manual exposure.
And again, using that compression to really get a lot of elements in the frame along with a small aperture to make sure that everything is in focus. I think the shot was okay, but I think unless you're maybe from Charlotte, there's not much here that's that interesting.
Nice thing about this being a quieter area too is I can be out in the middle of the street and not worry about getting hit. Here we go. Ooh, actually, that's kind of cool. I like that. I think if we can make that flower kind of pop out, that's gonna look nice. Now this is cool. Wow.
I actually wound up shooting the same shot twice. There's this first one here, and then I walk back through the same area later where the lighting was a little bit better, and I liked the sun coming on the building more directly, so here's that one. Personally, I think that this second shot is a little bit more successful. The lighting is more dramatic, it's less flat, and I think that it really makes the colors of the building pop out in a more interesting way.
See, I like that. How can I get that shot? Not be creepy. That's always the key. Actually, maybe if we just... Yeah, actually, that's pretty good. This is actually kind of cool, the windows. Can you get that? That's kind of neat. We've got another fountain. I'm so excited by the fountains, man. I don't know. Let's see, what direction do I want to go? This is something I really love about 4th Ward, though, is just these parks that are in the middle of like the city, you know? I think that Charlotte did a really good job at preserving some of the natural space that was already here without needing to just demolish everything like in other cities. Hey, a little library, how cute. Now see, this willow would be really cool if I had like a model or something. Nice little area to pose them there. That'd be really neat. Too bad I don't. This is cool. So I actually came over here with a friend of mine a couple months back when we did another photo walk. I really liked this structure. I thought this was really neat. Let's see if we can get something else with this. I feel like this might work best as like a black and white, but we'll see. Let's bring that down to 200. Drop the ISO, or not the ISO, the aperture. See how that turned out. Convergence of the 3 buildings here. Kind of the repetition with that swoop thing. Let's see if we can get something with that. Probably like a square crop, I think would be best. Trying to not actually get the plants though.
The shot is okay, but when I took it, I didn't realize that there was still that tree kind of poking up from the bottom here. So I wound up going for a really tight crop, and this was the result. I think that this shot works a lot better, and this is really where having 100 megapixels is amazing. This was the original shot, so you can see how tightly I'm able to crop in on this and still have a lot of detail without getting any pixelation at all.
Cool, let's see what we can get with that. Definitely for some of the architecture stuff that I want to try to do today, the sun's going to be important because I want to get a lot more contrast, trying to use more like the shadow and stuff. Some of the shots that I got just a little bit ago, I think can still work. We'll see when I get them home. You already know if they worked or not. But I think getting a little bit more sun to be able to get more light and shadow play, I think that'll work out a little bit better. Oh, I like that car. I don't want to get on their property though, but that's cool. That's neat. This is kind of cool. This feels very like southern to me, you know what I mean? With like, you got the porch, the chairs and everything. I just wish that parking sign wasn't there. You know what? I don't normally do this. I'm gonna try to get this shot and try to remove that parking sign in post. So y'all can let me know how I did with that. But let's see. I just think this is a really cool building, house, home, whatever.
At first, I was really happy with how this came out, and actually I was really surprised. This was basically just a single brush remove in Lightroom, and from here it looks like it worked really well. But if you zoom in here, you'll notice that the posts in the railing of the porch are obviously different. It actually removed another one of the pillars in the background, which is where the flag was connected. So the flag is kind of just floating there. I feel like I could post this on Instagram no problem and probably no one would notice, but this isn't one that I would necessarily print out to be really large where you'd see a lot of those details and notice that there's something wrong here.
Yeah, so we'll see if that looks like, you know what? I'll put it up anyway so y'all can see what that looks like, trying to edit out that post. We'll see if it worked out or not, I don't know. Wow, and then literally right around the corner from that, you have this very modern style building, very contemporary. I love the red accents on this though. This is very, very cool. Let's see if we can get something here. Yeah. That's a cool building too. Very different design. That's a big house though. Man, I just realized like it's all this. That's fucking big. That's cool.
Alright, I wasn't recording video on this one, but I had to throw in at least one black and white shot. This one's alright. I mean, I like it for the repetition, and I think the detail, the texture that's in the brick is really amazing, but it's also not the most interesting. I feel like if there was a more clear subject here, then it would be a more successful photo.
All right, so that was a little tour of 4th Ward. We're going to go back to the car now because I'm actually in like a 2-hour parking spot and head, I think, what is it, south a little bit, but wanted to move over to a different spot in the city, take some shots there, and then we'll kind of see where we want to go from there. Depending on when I get there, that may be the last spot that we visit today. I'm not sure, but I wanted to kind of explore this part of the city. So far so good. The sun is coming out, which is what I wanted. I was hoping to get a little bit more light, and we've got that starting at least. So we'll run over there, wander around a little bit more, get some more shots. Let's kind of see where the day takes us. All right, so we're over at the other park now. I've shot here in the past, but I really like coming here. There's just a lot of interesting things to try to photograph. The light is still toying with me, teasing me, but that's all right. We'll wander around a little bit and kind of see what we can get here. At this point, I'm just glad that it's not 100 degrees out finally here, which makes wandering around a lot easier and a lot more enjoyable. All right. I would love for the sun to come out a little bit more so I can get some like shadows from the structure. Looks like I might wait around a little bit here just to see if I can get that shot. Meanwhile, while I'm waiting, try to get that building in the background kind of through some of the slats here.
This one's not bad, but I think that top post going across the frame kind of is distracting.
Yeah, I think that's actually kind of cool. See how that works out. You know what, I've changed my mind on this shot, and here's why. I said earlier that some of the architecture stuff I wanted to do was more architectural detail. I think I'm still thinking too much in wider architecture scenes, where again, the 28p or you know, any other kind of wider angle lens I think would be a lot better. And see, I say that, and now the sun's coming up, so I'm still gonna try to get a shot, but I need to rethink my approach in terms of what I'm looking for in my compositions with this particular lens. So So I think changing my mindset with how I want to approach some of these shots is going to go much farther into being successful with some of the shots that I want to get. All right, well, this is kind of neat. Spice. I'm sure that's just a restaurant name, but I think that's kind of a cool shot anyway.
While I like some of the layering here, I think that maybe this is just an ad for the restaurant at this point. It's not a very compelling photograph for its own sake.
There we go. So with the sun coming out, I've actually dropped my ISO down to 64, which is pretty slow. It's nice and bright out today. And I still want to use a wider aperture for some of the shots to try to get a depth of field, kind of make some things pop out a little bit more. Yeah, let's go down this way. So if you're following me on Instagram, and I hope you are, then you'll probably recognize some of the stuff around here because I've shot a couple rolls of film here before. I actually did a photo shoot with a friend of mine testing out some infrared film one time over here too. But if you're not following me, all good. Go take a look at those shots. I think some of them were kind of fun. Like I said, I've shot here before. I just think this is a really interesting place to shoot. So I was wrong earlier when I said we were going towards First Ward. This is First Ward. I always forget the order. But yeah, so now we're over in First Ward, not Fourth Ward. Oh my God, there's another Cybertruck over here. I don't know if y'all can see that. This is the day of Cybertrucks out here, man. Charlotte, y'all are wild. This is kind of cool. If I can get this layering.
This is another shot where I think that using a smaller aperture to get everything in focus and then using that compression from a 90mm lens really works well. There's a lot of layering here. Maybe it's missing a clear subject, but this was something a little bit different and I liked just the geometry of the photograph.
Let's see, I kind of like this. Let's see if we can do something with this. This could work.
In hindsight, I'm not really happy with this shot, but hey, they can't all be winners, right?
Yeah, we'll see if that's kind of cliche looking. It might be. Ooh, this I like. This is cool. Got a little market going on today. That's cool. I'm gonna go back over to that area in a little bit. Oh my God, the Attack of the Subways. Now see, if I was in high school, oh man, Coke can on here, that would have been the shot. Back in the day when I didn't know what I was doing. Which implies that I do now, which I do not. I do kind of like this green crosswalk. Kind of want to wait here and see if I can get a person going across here. This is kind of neat. I like this overall setup. So while I wait for someone to come through here, what I did was I actually put this into manual focus and I kind of pre-focus the shot. Hasselblad is great at a great many things. However, the autofocus tends to be a little slower than on other brands, which is fine. Again, medium format, the idea is that you're taking your time and slowing down a bit more. But I wanted to pre-focus it so that if something comes in here, I could try to get the shot and not worry about the autofocus, trying to figure out what's going on. That'll work. All right, I think that'll do. I'm gonna loop back around. There's one thing that I want to try to get. It's a shot that I have looked at getting many, many times. Oh, actually, this is kind of cool too. Hold up.
I'm actually really happy with kind of the geometry of this shot. It feels abstract in a way, and I love the detail in the tiles that are on the left side of this photo.
That could be kind of neat. Yeah, all right, good. I have wanted to try to get a shot of this building for a while now. I've never really been happy with how they've turned out. I love this building, I love the writing, the graffiti thing on it. I think I can finally get something that's interesting today. It's not a lot of cars. That car is not gonna be in the shot, so that's fine. I'm gonna try a couple different things out. And that one.
I think what finally worked well about this photo, in my opinion, was the balance. You have kind of that strip of white mirrored by the strip of green at the top and the bottom. You have a balance in the composition with the four kind of window frame things. And then even though you have that peak on the left side of the frame, you also have the graffiti on the right side. So I think that everything works very well in terms of kind of balancing each other out here. Nothing feels too heavy on any one side of it.
I don't know what this building was, but I've been fascinated with it since I moved out here. I gotta say, I really love how light this lens is. I tried out the 90mm from TT Artisan. That lens alone was over 2 pounds. So trying to do something like this where I'm just kind of holding the camera, my God, it was just heavy. If you're like in a studio doing a shoot or something, like portraiture on a tripod or something like that, then totally fine. But wandering around with that lens, it was tedious after a while. This is much lighter. Plus this has autofocus. Really, really happy with this one. I'm very excited to see how the shots come out. There you go. That's some Charlotte shit right there, man. Oh, that's what's going on here today. Forgot. Pride weekend. I forgot that it was Pride weekend this weekend. And the parade is tomorrow. So there's gonna be a lot of celebrations and stuff going on this week. No, thanks. It's all right. Thank you, Ben. I was not sure if he was serious or not.
Another one where compression, layering, and a deep depth of field, I think, all work well to make this kind of interesting. I would have loved to see something at that upper right corner. I think there's too much negative space there for how busy the rest of the frame is. It feels uneven. So, you know, a bird, a plane, Superman, something would have been great to have up there.
All right, so we've been wandering around for a little bit now. I think we've got some decent shots, and I think more importantly, I have a pretty good understanding of this lens now. So overall, do I like this lens? Absolutely. It's lightweight for what it is. It's very capable. This, of course, being a prime lens, you do need to kind of rethink how you compose and how you shoot. Since this is kind of like a medium telephoto lens, that definitely tripped me up a little bit at the beginning, but I think we're able to kind of account for that, change around the approach to some of my work, and ultimately get some shots that I think worked very, very well. So is this a lens that I think you should consider picking up? While this isn't a full review of the lens, I'm not going into like significant detail. There's a lot of other videos out there that do that, but first impressions, do I think that you should get this lens if you have a Hasselblad and are in the market for this? Absolutely. I think that this is such a good quality lens from Hasselblad. It is expensive, but it's fast. I love the ergonomics on it with that clutch. You can kind of switch in and out from manual focus to autofocus at any time. It's very simple. You don't need to go through menus to do it. And I'll be honest, so far I've really not been disappointed with any lens from Hasselblad. It is limiting in some factors, so I think you need to account for what type of work you do. if you want kind of that wider angle, get everything in the shot, this is obviously not going to be the lens for you. But if, like me, you really enjoyed the f2.8 80mm lens on the old Hasselblad 500 CMs or the 500 series, 501, 503, yeah. All right, well, I got kicked out of my spot. Interestingly, the guard said that there's no filming with cameras like that. Okay, so if I was using my phone, would that have been allowed? Whatever. Anyway, I completely lost my train of thought. I don't remember what I was talking about. The lens, obviously. But yeah, I mean, overall, yeah, I like it. It's a really good lens. I think that's where I was at. That's right. So yeah, so if you're like me and you really fell in love with the 80mm lens, the f2.8 that came on a lot of the Hasselblad 500 series lens, or series cameras, then I think you'll really like this one for what it has to offer. Anyway, I think I'm going to wrap it up there. Thank you again so much for watching. I really appreciate the support on the videos lately. Please remember to like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one.